They called him fearless, legendary, a man who owned the skies over Europe when the world itself was drowning in chaos, and yet no story could ever truly capture the full weight of Billy Bishop. He was not merely a pilot. He was a force, a paradox, a man who lived on the razor's edge between brilliance and danger, where the thin line separating life from death became invisible, and every breath, every decision, every heartbeat could be the last. Imagine a boy staring at the sky, small, restless, relentless, dreaming of machines that could soar higher than birds, faster than the wind, freer than any cage. That boy was Billy Bishop. In Kingston, Ontario, in the quiet, ordinary streets, his eyes were never on the ground. They were in the clouds, following every glint of sunlight on the wings of early aircraft, imagining what it would be like to defy gravity, to pierce the clouds, to escape the limits of ordinary human existence. He was curious, obsessive, almost impossibly driven. Nothing satisfied him except the pursuit of mastery, of movement, of speed, of the thrill of impossibility. When war erupted in Europe, it was like the world itself was calling him. Others hesitated, others trembled, others sought safety, but not him. He volunteered not because it was easy, not because it was expected, but because he could feel in his bones that this was where he was meant to be, where courage would meet opportunity, where destiny would be forged through fire. The Canadian Expeditionary Force welcomed him, and soon the Royal Flying Corps recognized that his true calling lay in the air, not the trenches. Climbing into a biplane in those days was like stepping into a coffin, a canvas and wood machine, fragile, unprotected, engine trembling as if it could explode at any moment, bullets slicing through the air, the wind screaming like a living thing in your ears, and no parachute, no backup, nothing between you and oblivion but skill, instinct, and nerve. That was Bishop's playground, his battlefield, his proving ground. His first missions were terrifying, and yet he thrived. Flying alone over enemy lines, he could see death in every shadow. Anti-aircraft fire tore at the sky around him. Enemy fighters appeared out of clouds like ghosts, and the air itself seemed to conspire against him. Every moment was a gamble. Every maneuver could be the last he ever made. And yet, he learned. He adapted. He survived. Every close call sharpened him. Every narrow escape taught him instinct, strategy, cunning, the ability to see patterns where others only saw chaos. Then came the first kill. One enemy plane destroyed with precision, the surge of adrenaline, the thrill, the fear. He tasted them all at once, a heady mix that no man could ever forget. That moment changed him, not because of the victory itself, but because it revealed the truth. In the sky, he could be unstoppable. That single victory was a whisper of the legend to come, the first stroke of a myth that would be written in smoke and fire across Europe. By 1917, his reputation had grown into something tangible, something that preceded him even before he appeared. Enemy pilots whispered his name, and villages looked up watching him streak across the sky like a phantom. He was daring, calculating, lethal, yet bound by a code. Even in war, even in chaos, there were rules for him. There were ethics, a sense of honor, a restraint that separated the master from the reckless. Flying alone, he struck when least expected, disappearing before anyone could react. Imagine the world from his vantage, the wind tearing at your face, bullets splitting the air, engines screaming, smoke and clouds masking movement. And you are the predator, precise, calculated, untouchable. Every maneuver was genius. Every dive, climb, feint, and strike executed with the calm, ruthless precision of a predator at the peak of its power. One mission would almost end it all. Alone, deep into enemy territory, surrounded by swarms of aircraft, he dove, twisted, climbed, weaving through clouds and bullets, each second a life or death gamble. Few men could survive that. He did. Barely. That flight left scars that would never fade. Visible on the plane, invisible on his mind. It taught him the fragility of life, the weight of obsession, and the razor-thin line between survival and catastrophe. He didn't just survive, he thrived. Hundreds of missions, dozens of victories, each more daring than the last. Enemy pilots began to fear him, comrades marveled at him, historians debated him. He didn't fly for medals, He didn't fly for fame. He flew because in the sky there was freedom, and in freedom he could be alive in ways no one on the ground could understand. Every engagement was a lesson. Picture the air over France in 1917. Chaotic, turbulent, a storm of planes, bullets, clouds, smoke. Bishop's approach was methodical. He climbed higher than the enemy, concealed by clouds, silent, waiting. Then, when the moment was perfect, he struck. Dived at impossible speed, fired, evaded, disappeared. Alone, he turned disadvantage into advantage, fear into strategy, chaos into control. One day, near Cambrai, he spotted 3 enemy scouts. Alone, he dove from 10,000 feet, weaving between anti-aircraft fire, striking each in turn. By the end, all 3 were down, and Bishop returned unscathed. Impossible odds executed flawlessly. Another day near Lens, he faced 10 enemy fighters. Alone, he circled, feinted, attacked the blind spots, downing 2 before they even knew he was there. These were not lucky shots. They were genius. They were instinct honed by obsession, fear and relentless training, and the psychological toll. Imagine it. Fear gnawing at your mind constantly, sleep stolen by nightmares of bullets and fire, the loneliness of climbing into the sky with no one beside you, the moral weight of every life you touch, every mission you survive. Bishop carried it all alone. The adrenaline, the obsession, the terror, it sharpened him, made him hyper-aware, almost preternatural in his instincts. Letters home reveal another side of the man. "Flying is a game with death," he wrote. "Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. I cannot control it all, but I can control myself." These words show the man behind the legend. A young Canadian, terrified and brilliant, obsessed with defying the impossible, knowing that each flight could be his last. And yet, he pushed further, always further. Record-breaking flights, solo missions deep into enemy territory, risks no one else dared. Every engagement, every maneuver, every close call was a story of audacity, intelligence, and sheer survival instinct. He didn't just fly, he dominated, he commanded, he invented tactics on the fly that would later be studied and admired. Victory after victory piled up. Hundreds of missions, scores of enemy planes destroyed. But his story wasn't just in the numbers, it was in the brush with death, the calculated dives through storm clouds, the silent moments above the world where time seemed to stretch, where a single decision meant life or oblivion. It was in the fear, the exhilaration, the obsession, the humanity that never let him forget he was alive, that he was human, even as he became something extraordinary. Post-war, he returned to Canada, decorated, famous, yet humble. The world celebrated the hero, but Bishop saw the medals as mere symbols. The real story was survival, ingenuity, audacity, and the relentless drive to confront death over and come back. He influenced future pilots, shaped Canadian aviation, and inspired generations, yet he never flaunted his legend. He lived quietly, carrying the memory of every narrow escape, every dogfight, every night above the clouds. Controversies followed him. Some questioned his confirmed kills, his methods. Myths grew around his feats. Did he embellish? Possibly. But courage, skill, audacity, these were undeniable. He had stared death in the face and lived. The rest were details, footnotes to the legend. He was human, obsessed, flawed, brilliant, terrified and courageous. Letters, personal accounts and comrades' stories reveal a man wrestling with fear and duty, with morality and survival, with humanity and legend. The adrenaline of combat, the loneliness, the moral weight, they were constants. Yet Bishop survived, thrived, and created a legacy that would outlive him. Bishop's story teaches us about daring, focus, resilience, and courage. It is about facing fear, testing limits, refusing to be ordinary. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in the face of it. Bishop didn't just fly, he defied gravity, death, and expectation. He became a symbol of what humans are capable of when fear is stripped away, when focus is absolute, when destiny calls, and you answer without hesitation. The sky was his kingdom, the clouds his allies, and for a blazing, impossible moment, Billy Bishop was unstoppable. He didn't just soar, he rose, he conquered, he dared the impossible. And in doing so, he gave the world a story that whispers in every gust of wind, every shadow of a cloud, every heartbeat of courage. You too can rise. Billy Bishop didn't just survive the First World War. He lived it, dominated it, and turned it into legend. And that is a story that cannot be forgotten, that cannot be fully explained, and that continues to inspire anyone willing to stare at the sky and imagine what is possible when fear is faced head-on again and again.